Hi, and welcome to NicheCraft. My name is Kassi, and I'm your host, and today we are going to be sharing a little bit of a tip for you guys and how to stay healthy while you're crocheting. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey guys, so I didn't know whether or not to classify this under Wellness Wednesday or tips and tricks. And here's why. It's because now these exercises that I'm about to show you guys, they will help prevent any kind of injuries like repetitive stress injuries, issues that might affect your back with their posture, and any kind of injuries that might just cause some inflammation in your hands and wrists, okay? And because of that, we're definitely talking about wellness. But every crocheter should probably learn these things eventually so that they can keep their bodies healthy as they're crocheting. So this is also a tips and trick video. All right. So we're going to call this a Wellness Wednesday, and I'm really excited to show you these tips and tricks, right? Before I begin, just wanted to remind you guys, I really enjoy this community. I'd love it if you want to become a part of this community. All you have to do is subscribe and go ahead and hit that bell, just because I do have a lot of giveaways on this channel. In fact, I even have one going on right now. So if you don't want to miss those giveaways, and if you enter them and you don't want to miss being aware of who won, definitely hit that bell. That means a lot to me. Okay, so first let's start with our posture, okay? If you're anything like me, whether you're knitting or crocheting, one of the things that I did when I was younger is that I kind of leaned into my work. Now this was more when I was first learning a stitch, so I've noticed that I do this more when I'm first learning a stitch, and I've also noticed that it tends to happen more often when I'm counting and if I'm in poor light. So one thing is just be aware that when you're first learning a stitch, when you're really concentrating hard, maybe if the light isn't ideal, be more aware of what your posture is, okay? But what you can do is while you're crocheting, make sure your shoulders are back, okay, and that you're not leaning in to your work, okay? Your shoulders are back, and as you're crocheting, you've got that nice posture with your shoulders back. Now, I understand that not everybody can do this constantly, and eventually we might start leaning into our work, you know, I get that. So here's another tip that I've got for you guys, and this applies to every single one of these exercises. Set a timer. Whatever the time is for you that you need to do these exercises when you're crocheting, you know, just do that. But here are some suggestions on what you can do with a timer. If you're watching TV, do it during commercial breaks, okay? If you are just going for hours, or, you know, set a timer for every 20 or 30 minutes to, you know, stop and do these exercises. What it's going to do is it's going to help loosen yourself up, and it's going to make it so that your blood can flow really nicely, and that any kind of pressure that's building up, any kind of repetitive movement will be relieved, okay? So if you set a timer and you just have difficulty making yourself aware of your posture, then when the timer goes off, do these exercises. The first one is to roll your shoulders back like this, okay? You don't have to like poof yourself out, just roll your shoulders back like this, and then in between your shoulder blade, just squeeze a little bit. Now this should not hurt, okay? So if it hurts, don't even do the squeezing, just roll your shoulders back, okay? And what that's doing is it's making sure that your shoulders stay in place and stay aligned with your back, so that you will have a minimum back pain if that's something that you suffer from when you're crocheting. So just do this about 3 times every 20 to 30 minutes, and you're totally covered. But when it comes to crocheting and knitting, the thing that really tends to give us problems is our wrists and our hands, especially if we have arthritis or any kind of other kind of complications like that. So the rest of these are going to be catering to those specific issues. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is to hold your wrists outside of you, up like this, and make a little fist. It doesn't have to, if it hurts to make a whole fist, then don't do it. Just kind of tuck your fingers under. What you're going to want to do is roll your wrists. Do it very gently. You might have to do it slower if it feels weird to do it faster like this, but basically very gently roll your wrists a few times to kind of get that tension out, okay? And what that's going to do, it's going to loosen up your wrists right here. So issues like carpal tunnel, issues that involve the fluids in our wrists that build up, it can cause inflammation. That's what that's targeting. Another thing is something that I'm sure a lot of people with autism can really relate to. And there's a certain behavior that people with autism do to help release stress and anxiety, and that is called stimming, and one of them is to go like that. Now, you don't have to stim really excessively in order to get the benefits as a crocheter or a knitter, but one thing you might want to do is right after you do those rolls to go ahead and just let your hands just kind of flop around a little bit, and that way you're also loosening up those joints and tendons right there. Okay, so the next ones, these are more stretches, and you're gonna have to do this at the point where you feel the stretch, and the stretch should not hurt. It should not exceed anything, because for me, I might be able to stretch a pretty far away, but it'll hurt at a certain point, but I can keep going. You don't want to overdo yourself. These are not exercises where you're supposed to be exerting yourself. These are exercises where you're supposed to be gentle with yourself and you're taking care of yourself. So the first one is to hold your arm where your hand is down like this. Then take your other hand and push until you feel a little bit of a stretch there right here. You'll feel it in right here, and you'll also might feel it underneath right here, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to hold for a few seconds, let's say 3, okay? And then you're going to release, and then you're going to do it again and hold for 3 seconds. And then you're going to release, and then you're going to do it one more time and hold for 3 seconds. Then you're going to release. Now, if that feels like it built some up, go ahead and shake it out, okay? And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And basically what this does is it just keeps our wrists flexible, okay? So that we have enough flexibility in our wrists to, do some really fancy stitches like back loop double crochets and all of that kind of good stuff, right? Another thing that's very similar to that is to interlock your fingers like this and then push it out like this. Now again, this is one of those things that you are going to feel up your whole arm, but you'll also feel that stretch in your wrist and even in your fingers. So this is a good one to just hold for a few seconds. I would say do it until you can feel that stretch, okay? You can, now you're going to be able to go farther if you want. You don't have to do that. That's not what our goal is. Our goal is to just feel that stretch, be gentle with ourselves, and once we feel that, hold it for about 5 seconds and then release. And again, shake it out if you feel like you need to shake it out. And that's all you need to do for that one. Now, I believe there's one more that I've left out, and so I'm going to look at my computer. Forgive me, I don't have all of these memorized, but I think there was another one that I really liked. Oh yeah, there's another one that I really liked that when I was doing my research for this, that I was like, wow, that really helps. So this is going to be the last one that I'll teach you guys today. So in this one, you just hold your arm out like this and put 2 fingers on top and your thumb on bottom. And then you kind of press down just a little bit. You should not feel any kind of pain, just some pressure, very, 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 very loosely, okay? And then what you need to do is to just move your thumb and fingers around like this without lifting them. That way you're kind of massaging all of those little tendons and bones so that your blood flow can really help get going. And then do it on the other side just until it feels like you've gotten some of that stuff out. Another area that you might want to target for this kind of massage would be right here where your thumb is, and just do the same thing. Hold your thumb and 2 or 3 fingers here, and then just move them around without lifting them up. So you're just holding there, very loose grip, okay, and then just massage it a little bit like that without lifting your fingers. Because if you're lifting your fingers and you're going in and you're lifting them, then you might hurt yourself. You might do it a little bit too hard. We're going for gentle in every single one of these. And the reason why we want to be gentle with ourselves as we're doing these stretches and just feel the stretch and that's where we end and all of that is because people who really want to help themselves get in better shape and in better order, what they tend to do is they overdo it. And then they end up injuring themselves in the opposite direction. And so what we want to do is to just be able to feel our bodies for a little bit, but only a little bit. Because that way we'll be able to stay nice and loose and healthy. And if you're still experiencing any kind of pain, any kind of issues after doing these kinds of exercise, let's say daily for a few days, okay, then this is going to be an issue that you're going to have to take up with a doctor, okay? Because I'm not a doctor. I'm just showing you the things that I've learned, the things that work for me. And so this will help keep you in good posture with your arms and your fingers nice and loose so you can crochet and everything. But I cannot solve a problem that goes beyond basically anything like that. So it's always good to talk to a doctor. I personally have had issues with repetitive muscle, and they have these little gloves that they're like compression gloves, and they go on and they usually strap over your thumb. And I've noticed that when I have issues with my wrists and maybe my forearm and my hands right here, that if I wear one of those while I sleep, it tends to feel better by the next day. It just kind of restricts movement, so you're not doing that repetitive movement. But that just works for me, and I don't know if that's a solution that would work for everybody. I just know that the exercises that I'm sharing right now, they sure are helpful to the average crocheter. But of course, if you have any kind of major issue, please ask your doctor about it, or a nurse, somebody in a medical profession, because I am by no means a medical professional. All I know is that I crochet, and these are some exercises that have helped me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you do these stretches, and I hope that it ends up really working for you to keep going with your crochet and adding some more time to that if that's something you want. I know it really does help me. And when our bodies are nice and loose and limp as we're doing things, I've just noticed that I get more done. So that's another good thing for that. Again, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, hit the bell, leave me a comment, let me know some of the exercises you do if you have something that I didn't mention, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye for now, guys.